Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Sorry to keep you waiting a minute. Oh, what a day. What a day. Yes. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Linda. Hi, Tess V, and Enlighten to Me. I love that. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited. And collaborator. Hey, Jemaja. So nice to see you. Hi from Toronto. Okay, let me try again. Oh, no, it worked. Oh, it worked the first time. Hey, lady.
Miracle.
Ah, you look so good.
Thank
Ah, you're looking
you.
beautiful this Valentine's
Well,
Day.
thank you. It's also my birthday. Did you know
Oh
that?
my God, no. Happy birthday. I'm sure I knew at some time, but that's right. I celebrated your birthday last year with you. Ah,
I love your red
happy birthday.
lipstick. Thank you. I should have got some matching lipstick to go along with yours.
Wonderful. Well, I hope all your wishes come true this year.
Thank you. It's an interesting solar return chart. I was kind of freaking out by it, but you know what? Can't do that, right?
Well, Uranus is square the lights. I mean, it's separating, but I'm gonna say you're gonna have a year of breakthroughs. Yeah.
I'll take it.
And it's like the full moon phase. So yes, I'm feeling good things for you.
Thank you. We'll talk. Was your day okay? You're like, what a day, what a day. I'm like, that was me like this whole week.
Well, okay, so Mercury was at 29 degrees of Aquarius last night, and I couldn't go to bed. I stayed up till like 2, 3 in the morning. It was absolutely ridiculous. This whole last couple of weeks, I've been up way too late. And then squaring Neptune in my chart, I have Neptune at 29 degrees of Scorpio. And ooh, I just had the 29th degree is a degree of crisis and decay. Mercury rules our thought process. We can think about Aquarius, about tech, the future,
So many
square
things.
Neptune, like emotionally.
It's
And I had a little cry in bed about all of
it's
it.
all dissolving, but now it's all like in the watercolor that is you. It's all like integrating.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I just needed to get those emotions out. And now
Yeah.
Mercury's in Pisces, and I'm going to go and trust and have faith again that we're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. And we're going to learn some really important things.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But well, I was messaging you earlier, right? And sorry for everybody who's like, just bear with our little conversation here. But on that full moon, we had like this massive like sewage, like total disaster, and it's just been all the way going about any way to turn up my mic. I will do my best. Is that
Oh, yeah.
better? Am I?
Jess is asking you to turn up your sound if possible.
Let's see. Well, I'll just bring it a little closer. Is that
Oh,
better?
that's
I have
better.
my okay. You can just see all my freckles. No, just but anyway, yeah, this full moon, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really not looking forward to eclipse season. I'm like, we can handle it all. We can handle it, right?
Yeah. So you had your full moon story was a pipe burst.
Yep.
That's very Uranian. The full moon squared Uranus really tightly.
Yeah.
And well, your eclipse story is getting the contractors and all this stuff, right? To get it all fixed up and
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, it's just like when it's hitting your chart, like, because that full moon was on my natal sun Jupiter, and like Mars is sitting, or Uranus is sitting on my natal Mars. It was a lot.
so you probably did you? I'm sure you had like a whole expletives coming out of your mouth when you saw.
Like figuratively, literally, it's all over the place.
Oh, well, I hope it all gets cleaned up soon. And introduce yourself. We're just talking like we're out at
I know.
out at lunch. Introduce yourself for anyone who's not familiar with you.
Well, thank you, Celeste, for having me. I'm Leslie Tagorda. I am a leadership and a brand astrologer, but I'm an astrologer at heart, and just really always thinking about our identity and ourself and our strengths and how we bring things into the world. And Celeste lives across the bay from me, so we get to, go have some treats every once in a while, coffee and dinner, which is super fun. And today we're going to be just talking about like love, because love is on our mind, but thinking about like what's really behind that love and what prevents us maybe from finding our true love.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, why don't you start with letting everyone know? We're going to focus on the moon sign.
Mhm.
So, what does the moon, how do you dialogue what the moon represents in our
Oh
charts?
gosh. Gosh, the moon represents so many different things, right? Like when you go to like the eye doctor and they're putting those like lenses over and over and over, we can like constantly put a different lens to kind of look at the moon. But the thing that I love to understand about the moon is that it truly represents our our relationship to our primary caretaker. And we almost come like predisposed to having a specific relationship archetype with our original caretaker. And how that pattern is created when we are, barely conscious and like learning and like developing our egos really sets the tone and sets the pattern for the rest of our lives. When I look at the moon sign, when we can understand the needs of our moon, like our moon sign shows us our non-negotiables. They are our needs. And so we have to learn how to stop gaslighting ourselves in terms of like really understanding our needs, because that's when we can create emotional security, which then allows us to have the things in our life that we truly desire, whether it's love, whether it's leadership, whether it's like taking a big risk.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. So the moon, and people are commenting, the mother relationship nurturing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm. Yeah. Let me see if I missed anything. That's great. So, what are some
Return.
key words you tell people to look for with the moon? Or
Yeah.
feel emotions, feelings,
Feelings and
security?
emotions, those are like the ones that like everybody will know, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
I love to think about is that our unconscious why. I want to
Unconscious.
know the unconscious why. And like now that we're conscious, we're becoming more self-aware, we have astrology as a tool of self-awareness and self-knowing, we can take that unconscious why and bring it to consciousness. And when we think about like, oh, are you doing the work? Well, this is doing the work, is like dredging up all of that unconscious why into our conscious why. Because hey, the moon is a total gatekeeper. The moon will allow us to make decisions based on fear or based on faith. And when we're making decisions based on fear, we're never like we're staying stuck in our south node instead of moving towards our north node.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I say when people would if someone was to push you against a wall, you react from your moon sign. It's
Yes.
like this unconscious, just almost like survival instinct behavior comes out. And so when people learn about their chart, and learning about their moon sign can be like, well, when I learned about my moon, it was like, oh my God, it's like flashlight, it's like spotlight, things going off, helping you understand it. And by the basics is by the sign, but then you can layer things in the house, the aspects it's
Aspects.
making, whether it's above the horizon, below the horizon, and all sorts of things. But yeah, why don't we talk about some of just the basics to help people understand things about each of the moon signs?
Yeah.
So, should we start? Do you want to do signs or houses? What do you?
Oh, we can do either or,
Yeah.
but let's kind of let's position it first, because if we are on Valentine's Day, you might
Yes.
be thinking about love, you might, be in a partnership, a long-term partnership, a short-term partnership or anything. And of course, we're all always wanting to know like, oh, who is our partner? But we can look to our moon sign, because our moon sign will really tell us what we need emotionally. And so, if you're kind of like somebody who's always looking for somebody to kind of fulfill you, or having fights with your partner, there's parts of your needs that are not being fulfilled. If you can bring that into consciousness, like basically your inner child is like, why don't you love me? Why don't you nurture me? Why don't you take care of me in the way we need? And maybe if we're single, we keep on picking the wrong people because we're not aware of what our primary needs are. Or if we're in a long-term relationship, we keep on getting into like the same fight over and over again. right? Oh, hi, Jeff.
Mhm.
And so when we know our needs and when we say, hey, these are non-negotiables, then we're going to make better decisions in our life, but also in our relationships and like how we respond. We can change that unconscious like gut reaction into like a conscious, aware, mindful response.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. I'm curious what, so we have Pisces moons in here. We have some Virgo moons. I saw somebody else who had a Taurus moon. Yeah, do you want to go by like just the moon
Yes.
signs?
Yes, I want to give you the shout out that Jay says that Leslie truly helped me understand my Virgo moon
Oh my
and
gosh.
my needs.
Yes.
I felt so aligned. Absolutely. So we see Cancer moon. I'm an Aries moon. So why don't we start with
Let's
Aries?
start with Aries. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Celeste, I love my Aries moon clients. Like I guess it's just in my job in my industry, like I work with so many Aries moon clients. And of course they're all like they work for themselves. They're like leaders and entrepreneurs. They're like go-getters. They want to be the best at everything. And I see that a lot in you, Celeste.
Well, I just my okay, so I'm a Cancer rising. So the
Mhm.
moon rules Cancer, and so it rules my whole chart, and it's in my 10th house, which
Yep.
is very public. So yeah, people see my Aries moon
Yeah. I
even
mean, like,
more than I see it myself sometimes. I had a boss tell me years ago that I was fearless, and that just shocked me. And I loved it. It's like the best compliment I've ever had in my life because I see myself with my sun and Taurus and Saturn on my sun as someone who's being cautious or at times fearful. So
right.
I loved that that's what other people see in me and it helped me see it in myself.
Yeah. Well, when I think about you, Celeste, and all the work that you do, and just like the effort and like the precision that you put into everything and that dedication, that really comes out in that Aries moon. I mean, of course, your rose.
Yes, Leslie, I'll marry you.
I see you. I know the needs of your Aries moon.
Sorry.
If I wasn't married already, Celeste.
I know my boo wouldn't like that. I'd be like, what's
No.
going on?
Um, But so yeah, those Aries moons, they need, right? Like when we think about just all of the Aries archetype that need to be free, that need to be the best, that need to be the first, that need to be like courageous and bold. I noticed that like especially when we think about when we were young children, and especially you as a girl child, Aries moon, your parents probably didn't know what to do with you. They were like, oh, why is she so wild? Your teachers are like, Celeste, put your hand down. You don't always need to be first, right? Like that's the thing with the Aries moon, and we get conditioned to be like, oh, we should be a little bit quiet, we shouldn't be first, and we start like to gaslight ourselves. When in fact, with our Aries moons, like we have to be the first, we have to be the best, and like and how that all like expands. So for you, it really expanded into this like idea of fearlessness.
Yes, and I have to give my mother a shout out. So I had this third grade teacher who was constantly complaining to my mother about how I wanted to be first in line when we went to the cafeteria or whatever. And finally, and she was a Southern lady. Yeah. Anyway, finally, my mother had to tell her that. And I mean, the South is lovely. And so, but you know what
Yeah.
it's a shorthand for saying, yeah, this little black girl, who does she, I went to a private school, so I was the only
Oh,
black girl in class.
oh
Anyway, finally told her she's an African American. She's going to have a lot of hurdles and things in
yeah.
life. And if she wants to be first in line,
Let her.
I don't want to hear another word about it. My mother was a school teacher too. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Can you,
I'm very thankful that
your
that
mom,
independent streak, that like competitive streak was nurtured in me as a
gosh,
child.
your mom, you had like the most brilliant mom. And so I would assume that your moon is very well aspected.
Well, it's yeah, well it has it's almost unaspected. It squares my ascendant and sextiles. It has sextiles and but it's opposite Jupiter in my fourth house. But it's wide.
Yeah.
It's all wide.
That's all good. I feel like your mom really set you up for success because she cultivated that. A lot of the Aries Moon clients that I have, like they're very not well aspected, and you can see like the parents really challenging the young child. And it's like, how would our world be so much different if parents and teachers knew the astrology of their students and their children to be able to cultivate that? Like, oh my gosh, my son has the Virgo moon also, and he has like that Pluto. And it's just like sometimes, even though I know his astrology is super challenging.
Yeah, so that's Aries, a need for
Aries.
independence, pioneering, to be competitive, and first at times. Yes,
Yes.
first through the door.
First through the door. And so like if you're dating, somebody and you have that Aries moon, you know that you want them to hold the door open, you want to be thought of first. You want like there's these things. And if you're dating or like with somebody who refuses to put you first, that is not someone for you.
Exactly. Yes. Okay, let's go to
Oh
Taurus.
yes.
Taurus, where the moon is
Oh
exalted.
yes. Yes, the
Loves
Taurus
to be
moons.
here.
Yes, the Taurus moons. So Earth, fixed Earth. They're not super into change, but they will change if it's their idea. And so to know that you need to have comfort, you need to have this kind of physical security. When we think about like all of like regulating our emotions and people who have those weighted blankets, this is a necessity for Taurus, right? And so Taurus wants to be shown love and appreciation with like decadent gifts. It doesn't necessarily have to be like super expensive, but it has to be like really high quality, like food that tastes delicious, clothing and materials that feel really, really good. And they want that physical touch, they want that sensation. And so when I think about Valentine's Day, like chocolate and roses and all those things, this is a holiday made for Taurus. I mean, let's be real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A desire for security, stability, and the Taurus moons can often be like a rock for people. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And so if we have that Taurus moon, you're going to be looking for partners who are really allowing you to, or allowing your need to like make change at your own pace, not being controlled, not being forced, to really, when you're feeling dysregulated, to give you that nice big bear hug and just make you feel super comfortable and cozy. And it wouldn't hurt if you had, somebody who had the means to pay for your decadent tastes.
I love that. Yeah, every Taurus moon I know is comfortable financially. Like there's a real
Yeah.
there's a real desire to know where the next mortgage
Yeah.
payment or whatever
Oh, yeah, that's
rent
sustainable, like
payment is coming from. Yes.
sustainable cash flow, like
Hmm.
financially secure. Like those are needs for those Taurus moons.
Yes. And how do you see Gemini moon?
Gemini. Yes. So I love my Gemini moon people. I have a Gemini rising. And so for Geminis, they need to be known that they're clever, that they're smart. They need to be able to talk and process their emotions. And so if they're with anybody who says, oh, you're talking too much, or you're too social, or you're too this, like that is not the person for you. Because for a Gemini moon to get to your heart, it's really about like being smart is sexy, right? It's like I'm looking at your glasses, Celeste, and it's like, oh yeah, that's like really what get into like a Gemini moon's heart is like, oh, what does that person know, who does that person know? And
My boo is a Gemini moon.
wear those glasses. Get your sexy librarian outfit tonight.
We're celebrating tomorrow, so I
Tomorrow.
don't have to wait till tomorrow. But yeah, my sister's a Gemini moon too, and she
Oh.
came out of the womb. Da 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 da. Talk talk talk. Why? I mean, she likes to talk about like and process her
Yes.
emotions out loud with
Yeah.
me.
Oh, Manifestor 125 says my teenage son is a Gemini moon, right? And
Uh-huh.
just to like really make sure to feel that he's comfortable, it's like really listen to him and really appreciate and recognize his cleverness, his intellect, and like that's really how you get to the Gemini moon's heart and to recognize. I have a client who's a CEO who has a Gemini moon, and we still come back to the Gemini moon all the time because there's so much conditioning from when she was younger about her father not prioritizing her intellect and always prioritizing her looks. Like, you don't need to be smart to be successful as a girl. You only have to be beautiful. And that really, it kind of messed with her. It created this pattern. And so even though she has become like risen through the ranks and became a CEO, she's still kind of this internal dialogue about like, oh, I shouldn't talk about it. I shouldn't, all these things, when that's what she needs, is to talk about it and to really be recognized as this thought leader. And she has to recognize herself as a thought leader.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's also got a little bit of a shapeshifter quality to it. So you're
Yeah.
needing stimulation, change. Like, so this is
Variety.
where a Taurus moon and a Gemini moon could have tension, because the Taurus moon wants things to
Not
stay the
change.
same and be stable. Or if the Taurus moon says, ooh, I want to have Thai tonight, and the Gemini moon says, okay, and then changes their mind later and says, no, I want to have, I don't know,
Yeah. The
burgers.
Gemini the
That's,
Gemini
that's
moon, like, make sure for breakfast every day is something different. They're gonna get bored so fast.
exactly. I eat the same thing every day, at least. I like eggs, and eggs are becoming hot commodities. So we'll see how
Oh
long
yeah.
that lasts. So, yeah, great. How about Cancer moons, where the moon is at
Oh
home?
yes. I love my Cancer moons. Cancer moons are so. Oh, can I go back to this question by vibes being cute?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
my theory is that us Gemini moons are ADHD. I'm diagnosed. Oh my goodness. So I absolutely um, abhor this idea of categorizing people as ADHD or neurodiversity, because it's like, what is the standard of our neuro processing? When we look at everybody's Mercuries and everybody's moons, we're going to see like the whole spectrum. And so it really is a disservice to me. And this is always something that I always talk about, that, when we were young, we get all of a sudden like compartmentalized, labeled as something, when the schooling or education systems haven't yet learned how to serve many people in according to like their unique oh my gosh, words just left me right now, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Hmm. Yes, yes, there are different ways of thinking, and yeah, we
Absolutely.
are a divergent species, so let's watch out for labeling ourselves as something. That makes a lot of sense. Yes. Hmm.
Okay, so
And
let's go
what's
to
your
the.
moon, Leslie?
I'm a Sagittarius moon.
So this is like that. Okay. What we just saw was an opposition. A Gemini moon like has this thought that, oh, this is associated with ADHD, and then the Sag moon, which is ruled by Jupiter, and is like, ooh, let me take this up to a more
Bird's eye view.
philosophical, higher thought process. And no, we're all in different ways. I love how you
Yeah.
just did that. That's great.
Well,
That was
I'm.
such a great example of opposition.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I have a Gemini rising with my Mercury in Pisces at my midheaven.
Yeah.
So, like I would be like a classic
Yeah.
case for neurodivergency. And gratefully, I was never labeled that. But when I think about it, I'm like, I'm all over the place. I'm very scattered, but I'm supposed to be scattered.
Yes. Yes. Advice being cute. Yes, it was very helpful for you to understand your diagnosis. I think what Leslie's
Yeah.
saying is, let's just not paint everybody with the same brush. in terms of how of just based on their moon sign. And I like to, it's really important, I think, not to pathologize
Yes.
people using astrology just to pathologize people. And I know you didn't mean it in any way negative,
No.
but it's important to, like, I saw some posts on on threads hating on all cancer
Oh my
men
gosh.
with cancer or Mars or something. It was just like,
Come
come on.
on. Yeah. Like, no, no, no. We
We
don't
don't
do that here.
want to do that. Yes, yes.
Um, so yeah, so on to our Cancer moons, they need openness, acceptance, belonging. We know that Cancer is very emotional, and we know that Cancer is very sensitive. And oftentimes we're told that, oh, you're too sensitive or you're too emotional. When reality, like the waves of emotion can move past and move through when they're not being like bound or held up. And so if we can allow that Cancer moon to know and feed their needs, to trust their emotions, to know that their tears are their power, to know that they need to be with partners who love and accept them no matter what. There is that kind of nurturing part of that Cancer moon that actually like is soft. And we don't want to harden that, because when we're soft, we can open up. When we can open up, our emotions can flow. And when our emotions can flow, we don't get stagnant. We don't get that kind of like toxic buildup. And it's very truly healing.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And let's all be open to each other in the comments. We're
Oh,
all allowed to share our thoughts.
what's
And it was
happening
just
in the
a beautiful
comments?
example of like of people in conversation and having different thoughts. So yeah, let's treat each other all with inclusion
With
and
some,
love. Yes,
yeah, some
yes, yes.
belonging and
No
some
fighting in the
love,
comments.
some understanding, right? Like that's, I think for like my Sagittarius and my Gemini energy, it's like I always want to understand why people say things before like going on to like just coming out to conclusions. But yeah, we have all love here.
All love, all love. Yes, and Cancer is an emotional side.
Yes.
And so nurturing. Like going, a Cancer moon is someone who probably would like to more entertain at home than
Absolutely.
be running the streets. And a Gemini moon might want to go here and there and the other place. But the Cancer moon. So you got to understand each other's diverse needs, especially when signs are next to each other. There,
Yes.
it's like things are in your blind spot. You just may not even understand the way the other person feels or needs to be nurtured. And this is the beauty of astrology, that can give you some things and information that's really important for, say, yeah, a
Yeah.
Cancer moon. And you got to understand another thing with the Cancer moon, needing time alone to
Hmm.
pull away and go in seclusion or solitude at times in order to understand how they're really feeling, because all of the water signs can be absorptive of other
Absorbent.
people's
Yeah.
energy.
Energy.
And like if you're like a Gemini moon might be like, I want to talk about this right now, and the Cancer moon needs
Oh,
time to digest what just went on. And like not rushing conversations can be, and the same thing with an Aries, and even like the square. So
yes.
Aries and Cancer are both cardinal signs. So an Aries moon may be like, it means the whole chart needs to come into
Yeah.
play, because I'm not like this, like Aries, because I'm a Cancer rising. I need
Yep.
to like go off on
Well,
my own for a little bit. But Aries moon may want to talk about something right now, and the Cancer moon needs time to process emotionally
yeah.
so they can understand how they're feeling before you get into the conversation. That's the tension of a square.
Yeah. Well, going back also to that Cancer moon, right? Like, because it's ruled by the crab. And so Cancer is not always like is not going to express itself through its words and its voice as much as it's going to express itself through its action, through its acceptance, through its love, through, you know, like if you get a home cooked meal by a Cancer Moon, you know that person loves you.
So much care is taken
So much care, yeah.
with what
So
they're.
don't push that Cancer Moon to like talk about things, like you said, like to give them their space, give them their time, allow them to, you know, it's like the softness. If you push on a Cancer Moon the hardness, they're going to shut themselves off.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and Cancer is the crab too.
Mm-hmm.
Like can go in the shell, but if you keep knocking on the top of the shell, that claw, it's gonna
Yep.
come out. And speaking of that, for anyone in Sacramento on the 23rd of this month, I'm giving a lunar planning workshop. So you can go to the link in my bio and see that for NCGR. I just want to make sure people know
How
that. Yeah.
fun. Well, Moon Mastery, that's all you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's a moon mastery workshop. Okay, let's get to Leo. I was
Ooh.
married to a Leo
Oh God.
moon and no more.
And didn't they need all the attention?
Mm-hmm.
The Leo moons, they need attention, and you got to feed that attention. And if you are the owner of a Leo moon, you have to recognize that yes, you need attention, you need adoration, but you know, like don't hog up all the limelight. Share some of that light, spread
Mm-hmm.
the light a little bit.
Yeah. And grand gestures, like a Leo moon is someone who may like to show their love with grand gestures, which can be really, really nice. But yeah, they really have
Diamonds,
a need to
jewelry, bling.
appreciation. If you have someone in your life with a Leo moon, telling them, putting to words like how much you appreciate the things that they do, both big and small, can really be good for the relationship. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Definitely, like I'm not into putting people onto pedestals, right? But like, you know, like in a loving romantic moment, it would be so wonderful like to come home to like all of these roses all over everything and candlelit dinners, like that gesture, like just like overboard gesture with that creativity. So knowing that you need that love and appreciation, that's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful for my Leo moons.
Absolutely. And the fire energy, oh man, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Shall we move to Virgo moons? Because
Sure.
we've got some Virgo moons in the house. My son is a Virgo moon. You know, we have Virgo moon, another earth sign. I like to just when we come back to the elements, we can know how they need to feel. I know that with my son, with his Virgo moon, even though he's not a Taurus, I know when he's feeling dysregulated, if I just give him a hug, if I touch him and make him know that he's okay, like he just calms right down. And so that Virgo is that integration of mind, body, spirit. And so really having that appreciating that need for to have everything integrated, appreciating that need to have everything in its place, you know, not being like super critical, like criticism, but like helping Virgos like find their right path. That Virgo moon, it is a funny moon because I find that my Virgo moon people, and I have so many Virgo moons, yes, Jeff, I find those Virgo moons, they're they hide their self-criticism. And so just to recognize that there's so much going on inside their heads that they're not saying, that they're not expressing, and giving them that permission to to be kinder to themselves, to recognize them, to say like, hey, it's okay. Jeff on here, Jay Camps, he's my right hand person, my chief of staff, and my son have Virgo moons, and so
Hi,
I
Jeff.
oh, I always know that I can see it in their eyes when they're like kind of spinning, like, oh no, I did something wrong. It's like, no, 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 you didn't do anything wrong. It's okay. And so really recognizing that in that Virgo moon. I know that's not like super like lovey-dovey or anything, but it is truly loving.
Yes. Well, it's a Virgos love to be of service, and But that need to bring order to chaos can go haywire. And everyone with a Virgo moon right now really needs to be doing something to nurture your moon. You're going to be learning a lot for your highest good about this part of your chart. We're all learning about the Virgo part of our chart because the South Node is there right now, and we're going to have an eclipse on March 13th. So really understanding your emotions, and the fact that this is just the collective call
Yeah.
of all of us to understand. And I have a South Node in Virgo, so I know what I speak. The North Node is in Pisces and the South Node is in Virgo. So people who have this placement, everyone on the planet is kind of experiencing some of the things that we do because of the nodes
The
for
nose.
18 months.
Yes.
And with the South Node in Virgo, the ground is like uneven. And Virgo's like exactly paved right properly with
Perfect.
markings, with the so that we can walk in the lines and we can have a crosswalk, and all of that has been kind of just exploded right now, for the whole world
The whole
because
world.
of what's going on in the United States and other places. But yeah, we need to
Yeah.
understand that our desire for order, it's
No.
just not available for us right now the way we would like it to be. And the North Node in Pisces is pulling us to accept what we cannot change, to be more flexible, to trust the process, to have some faith despite what we're seeing outside of in the circumstances. So it's really,
Yes.
you got to like just really nurture and care for that Virgo moon right now, because like you're going to see some of your shadows coming out, if and it's for you to understand and do some healing with
Yeah.
that.
And I think that healing, right? Because like we're all collectively going through that healing to me for especially for that Virgo, for all of us, is to like not be so judgmental of ourselves and move into this
Mhm.
compassion. When we think of like the organization, the compartmentalization and just like how like Virgo wants everything in its place, it's like that's we have to move away from that. Like how do we integrate it all? Even though Virgo is a very integration is very much a Virgo word, it's also a Pisces word to like
Mhm.
bring everything together. And so how can we move into more of that ease and flow of Pisces for those Virgo moons?
Yes.
Yeah, Virgo
Yeah.
moon I feel is one of the harder moons. Virgo moon and Scorpio moon, I find
Yes.
those to be
Virgo
the
moon, I would
heaviest.
say, yeah, those two are
Yeah.
challenging for people. And yeah, I want Virgo moons to write yourselves a love letter about all the good things about you. Everybody can do that, but
Everybody.
especially for Virgo moons, yeah. And how that has helped you, and where does it come from? What did you learn in your family that drove this like internal obsessive need for
my
order?
poor my poor son. I'm probably the one who's like super hypercritical for him. I'm like, oh no, I'm so sorry, Rocket.
uh, Not necessarily.
um, so Libra moons,
Yes.
yes. So, Libra moons, of course, are all about relationships, but more than relationships, they want that kind of fairness. They want things that are in harmony. They want kind of reciprocity and mutuality. And so, really nurture the love of a Libra is to know that there is like this beautiful dance of give and take. And so, how do we give that Libra moon to really notice their need to be liked, to notice their need to be connected? They're so 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 social, and even they can be like like the belle of the ball. But really, where they shine is like those one-on-one interactions and making sure that you have that personal time with your to nurture those Libra moons.
Yeah, and it's a cardinal initiating sign. Now, a shadow can be people pleasing, going
Yeah,
along to get along, but Libra also has some difficult sides to it where it can be like things need to look a perfect way, and if they don't look the perfect way, it's not valued.
yeah,
So, like, the
yeah.
present needs to be exactly the beautiful packaging, or there's this uh, devaluing of if it's right or good enough,
Yeah.
even if the thing inside the package is absolutely amazing. So that's something to go beneath the surface.
I think
Uh,
when we
Libras
think
need to,
about
moons need to remember. Hmm.
I think when we think about the Libra moon to like, making the right image, having that right, like the beautiful packaging, I think this really comes down to that recognizing the people pleasing in terms of like understanding that hey, you are wonderful just as you are. You don't have to have this beautiful varnish, remembering that I'm going to love you no matter what. And so I think if you have a partner that is a Libra moon, really recognizing and helping them to understand who they are in the relationship and how you appreciate their individuality, because this is where that polarizing, the polar opposite of Aries comes in. So like to help Libra remember that hey, they can exist on their own and they have enough to contribute just as they are. They don't have to please me in order to be loved.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And understanding a Libra moon may want to do more together
Yes.
than other people. Like
Going
sometimes
to the
you'll see
bathroom together.
they don't want to do anything by themselves. And
Mm-mm.
understanding your need to be social. And it's okay. And it's okay that you like to do things with others. I have a friend who has a Mercury in Libra and she just doesn't get my I mean, I could be totally entertain myself with two paper clips and a rubber band for hours, and I don't need to
No.
talk to other. I process a lot internally, and then I do need other people to bounce things off. But
Yeah.
it's totally like a Libra mood would be totally
Yeah, I mean, the Libra
like
moon, right? They
with
need those
me.
they need those committed partners. And so like
Yes.
to really know if they're attracting people who are not committed to them, those are not their people.
No, 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 no. And they need to, and they often need to like uh be flirtatious, like have a little, because there's a little need for that
Hmm.
dance with the words. Yeah, the waltzing with words is
Ooh,
something.
I like
Oh,
that.
I did before we go on, wing astrology. Ashley, hey Ashley, had a good comment about Virgo moons, and it's better to let people around Virgo energy to know because Virgo can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, overworking or
Oh,
over like just go and go and go can be a Virgo thing. So just make people aware
absolutely.
that this is something about how you feed your soul is like yeah,
Just
the way you
relax.
do that. Do the most. Oh, Jacqueline, I love it. And Jacqueline, I'll put this on. Jacqueline's saying she's going to rewatch and write down some things because
Oh,
there's so many
beautiful.
nuggets she's getting. And I also put these on YouTube, and I just started based on a
Ooh.
feedback, like and using what do you call it, Chat GPT, bookmarking the different
Oh,
signs. So
I
with
love
some of
that.
my
I
stuff.
love that.
Yeah, so I'll do that for this. Okay.
So
Where were
what's next?
we just did
Scorpio.
Libra and we're going to do Scorpio, where the moon
Scorpio.
is in fall. It doesn't like to be in this sign. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I've noticed that for like my clients and friends that have the Scorpio moon, ooh, they can really get stuck in jealousy and envy. And but they are the most loyal and just so giving and generous. Like we think like, oh, maybe Scorpio isn't that generous, but when a Scorpio person is loyal to you, they will give and give and give and give, but sometimes there are strings attached.
Hmm.
And so when we're dealing with a Scorpio moon, I think it's if you have a Scorpio moon, it's to know like how to trust people in terms of like who you're going to give your loyalties to, and to also just kind of lower some of your expectations, because there's nobody in the world who's going to be able to reach your expectations, your bar of what you expect emotionally. And just know that, right? Like don't have those high expectations of others that you that you have. But then also, if you are involved with the Scorpio moon, you know, like, you know that you're going to get some really good sex, you're going to get some really good attention, you're going to get some, you know, you're going to get like all those things, and just having like really clear boundaries. And so that goes for both like the partner, you know, or if you have a Scorpio moon, like really like expressing what you need and knowing when to walk away instead of when to just like keep on holding on. Just like when we think about those Tauruses and Taurus and Scorpio, right? Like they just want to hold on instead of like making the change. And so Scorpio really has to recognize when it's time to let go.
Yes. Yes, and Scorpio and Taurus are opposite each other. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what's so important. I forgot to mention when we were talking about Taurus Moon, it's really important for you to choose partners carefully, because you can get stuck and just not want to leave after you're in a relationship, even if you've outgrown it.
Oh yeah,
Because you're
Scorpio
just
too.
kind of like, unless the poop gets really, really high, you might just stay in this bad relationship.
Or you'll have a pipe break.
Or you'll have a pipe break. Yes. Yeah. And Scorpio moons, it's so important to, yeah, like you said, understand that your intensity is not able to be matched by everyone. And that's not the only way to show love, is
Yeah,
by like, yeah, being, it can be a lot for
it
people,
can be a
and how
lot.
hard and strong you love, but that
Mm-hmm.
ride or die energy can be so sexy. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
want the Scorpio moon will help you bury the bodies. But the love, yeah, it's very 9.5 weeksy energy. It can be, if when
Yeah,
it goes too far, but it can be very loyal and
absolutely.
protective. So it can be a beautiful, beautiful sign in love. Yes, but
Yeah,
it's a
that's
lot for some
it.
people.
It's a
A
lot.
Libra
So
moon and a Scorpio moon. Oh my
probably
God,
not. Yeah.
really have
I
to
feel like that,
work.
yeah, the Scorpio moon has to be very selective in who it's going to give their love to, and making sure that that person who is receiving of their love is also going to be able to be as powerful as they are. Show up with the shovel.
Yeah. Hey, real sister. Yes. Okay.
Shall we
Let's.
move on to
Yes.
Sagittarius?
This is your mood, right?
Yes, and style gold too.
Hmm.
So Sagittarius moon here, we need freedom, right? Like they, like truly, maybe we can be said as that we're avoidant, but we really need freedom. We need to understand why. We need to see obviously like the bigger picture. And so, at least personally for me, with my Sagittarius moon, and this is one way like my parents really kind of helped me, is that they let me do what I wanted to do. They let me chase my passions, even if they seemed like just really out of in left field. And so the Sagittarius moon, don't try to control them, don't try to hold them down, you know, get to their heart with like, you know, an exotic vacation, or if you don't have the funds to go on an exotic vacation, take them to like Laotian food or Ethiopian food, or like explore the world through like different cultures, different music. And like they want to learn and experience so many different things, especially art, music, culture, learning things. And so just like that Gemini moon, just this lifelong learning that just is insatiable. But once you try to hold them back or tell them what to think or what to do, they are gone.
Yes. Yes. Freedom is definitely. If you try to, this is like, what is that? Is it love is like? Is it like a butterfly, where,
Well,
or
if
a
you hold
bird? I'm like a
bird,
bird.
yeah,
Yeah.
like set them free and they'll come back. Like
Yes, yeah. You
the
try to
birds.
hold on to a Sagittarius moon or demand every moment of their attention, it's not going to work. They
No.
need freedom, or they'll be like non-committal and running for the door. Yeah. And if they want to
Absolutely.
drive a different way home every night rather than get irritated about it because they want to explore different things, just accept it. That's part of them.
How do you
Yeah.
know
So
me, Celeste?
like a Taurus moon could maybe want to take the same path
Same
home
route.
every night,
I
whereas the
never was.
Sagittarius moon was like, no, let's go on a little
I want
adventure, even
a
if it
new
takes
view.
longer.
Exactly. I want a new view. And so like a perfect date for like a Sagittarius moon would be like a hilltop picnic or someplace with the view, like going out to like those like makeout points that have like overlook a city or something like that would be like so beautiful for a Sagittarius moon.
Okay, Jess has okay. You've had two Sag moons, so Jess has a Sag moon, has had two Sag moon partners, and love them. They talk about ideas, but struggled about talking about access needs because it requires planning and commitment. Oh,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not sure. Do you understand that question, Leslie? Access
Um,
needs.
yeah, I would say like, for Sagittarius moons, personally for me, it's like getting me to commit to things is really hard. Just like you see, like you follow up with me in emails, right? Like, like I'm gonna wait to the last minute to make a decision. And like that's just how I am. Some people will call me impulsive. It's just like I need my options.
Ah, okay. So two Sagittarius moons together. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see the question now, Jess. Hopefully
But
that answered it.
sometimes it's like why like sometimes we don't need plans. Like maybe life is more surprising when we can go with the flow and just like be exciting.
Oh, well, okay. So you Jess has a disability and adventures.
Adventures of the mind, adventures of the heart, anything that broadens your horizon, right? And there are so many if you look up at Instagram or anything, there's lots of influencers that have different abilities that are traveling the world and showing people how to travel the world even if it's really hard to be mobile. So there are different so many options where you just think of like how can I expand my horizons, whether physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then Capricorn moons. Now the moon doesn't love to be in Capricorn
No.
either. It's the sign. It's as far away from home as it can be because
Oh,
it's at home in
Cancer.
Cancer, and it's now in the Saturn ruled sign. What would you say about
Yeah.
that?
Well, I love my Capricorn moons. Those are similar with the Aries moons. Is can you still hear me if I'm walking around? I'm gonna
Hmm.
go towards the front door because I want to continue the conversation, but I have to get out of the door at 2 o'clock, but I can still hold on.
Hmm.
Um, so my Capricorn moons, they are I love them so much. They're very hard on themselves too because they feel the weight of the world on them. And so to love a Capricorn moon is to allow that Capricorn moon to know that they have so much wisdom within themselves. It's to remind them that they don't have to move from obligation or duty, that if they can be trusted to, or not trusted, if they can trust themselves to know what they want instead of what others expect of them, that's really truly how to get into their hearts. To me, the Capricorn moons are like the wisdom keepers of the world. They hold so many they hold like generations of ancestral knowledge and wisdom, and to recognize that, to give them permission to like go into their dream worlds and to ask them about their dream worlds. They hold the DNA, like bones, right? Like the Capricorn holds the bones, they hold the memory and the wisdom of the world.
I love that. And my
Yeah.
favorite Capricorn moon is Colin Bedell of Queer Cosmos. Talk
Oh
about
yeah.
a wisdom keeper if you're not following him. And so Capricorn moons can sometimes just bring things down to brass tacks
Yeah.
with that, and it doesn't have the emotion, and sometimes people can get their feelings hurt when they're dealing with a Capricorn moon because they can be very practical, grounded, and based in reality. That's what Saturn likes. And a journey to soften up a little bit and understand that sometimes other people need a little sugar coating or sweet talking or softening the
Yeah.
reality around the edges.
The
Hmm.
softening for sure, right? Like when we are getting into these later signs, it's like we always have to remember to lean in the polarity. There's so much wisdom and needs that are being met from the polarity that we can also use to nurture the needs of the Capricorn moon.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah, and
just
they're
as
really here to
sensitive.
be useful. there is this internal desire to be useful in this lifetime in whatever way. What about Aquarius moons?
Ooh, Aquarius moons. Okay, so just like Sagittarius, I love that like Aquarius and the Aries and the Sagittarius, when I see them all in, they're in sextile with each other, they're in trine with each other. These are like the three signs that need the most freedom. Like, don't tell them what to do, where to go, how to think. And Aquarius moon, I find that like for my Aquarius moon clients, there's also a similarity with Cancer. They truly want to belong. They love their family. You never think of like Aquarius as being related to loving your family. They love their family, but they're really ready to leave that. If you believe in kind of like the soul, what is it called? The soul, oh my gosh, like the soul
Contract?
family, the soul contract or the soul family. Like they're ready to leave the people that they have known for, many, many lifetimes, but they still want to be loved by them. And so they need to be respected and loved for their differences. They need to be allowed to express themselves in the way that they want to express themselves, especially if they come from a really tight-knit family. These are going to be people who might be recognized as the black sheep.
Yes, yes. There's always a sense of feeling exiled in some way, whether it was from their family, from at school early, or different, really different than others. And one of the skills Aquarius moons has is to be able to detach emotionally, which they needed at some
Yeah.
point and can be helpful, but it can be an issue in relationships. And Aquarius is opposite Leo. So if you're with a Leo moon who needs, that validation and
Yeah.
hearing things, and Aquarius can be a little detached from that emotion, you got to understand that, ooh, how can I recognize what my partner needs and adjust accordingly? And some people, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
But I
just want to
love
be
how
loved
you
for who they
dialogue
are.
that with the family.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
I'm an Aquarius sun, right? Like today is my birthday, and I come from a really big Filipino family, and I have a cousin who has an Aquarius moon, and it's so funny because like we always feel like, are we the outsiders? Are we the insiders? Like, how do we fit within our family? But I just want to be loved. I just want to come back whenever I want to come back. But I'm gonna go like live like another part of the country.
I love that. Oh, and Pisces.
Oh, and lastly, Pisces. Oh my gosh. So another one of the water signs, so absorbent. But a Pisces moon really needs a partner who is going to allow them to have the full breadth and vastness of their emotions. You think that the Cancer is sensitive and emotional? Well, the Pisces is gonna laugh and cry and shout and scream and love all in one. And the Pisces moons, I just find them to be so brilliant, maybe a little bit misunderstood at times because they feel the entire world. And so to love a Pisces moon is to be able to help them understand that, hey, to have filters, what's mine, what's not mine, and give them all of the sparkles and all of the vibes.
Ah,
make their ambiance truly spectacular.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. To be loved by a Pisces moon is
Love.
something that's really beautiful because they're just, yeah,
Yeah.
people who may really, really, really take care of you.
Yes.
Tend to like food and feeding their senses a lot. Have to watch out for too much escapism, whatever
Yes.
that is, being emotionally fed by that escapism, and knowing what's theirs and what's not theirs. There's always a story about boundaries, whether it's
Always.
clinging too much to someone else or holding on to too much emotion, or like or not being able to clear it, or taking on the emotions of others. It's so important to nurture your Pisces moon and delve into understanding it. And you're going to be, if you have it, you're going to be experiencing the North Node conjuncture moon at some time. So it's really going to amplify those emotions. And as someone who just
Mhm.
went through this, be the more self-aware you are about that, you're going to be increasingly moving out, having to recognize when you're acting out of emotion over this next
Yes.
year and a half. Yeah, with the North Node there, it's really important.
I think when I hear about like what you said about the boundaries for the Pisces moon, I never use the word boundaries with Pisces moon because like how can you contain the ocean, right?
There is no boundary.
There's no boundaries. So I always like to say like filter, right?
Oh.
Like what can we filter in? What can we use as a centrifuge to maybe filter out or something like that. I find that to be maybe a more helpful word. And I also love this idea of, yeah, escapism, right? Because Pisces may have learned to not be able to emotionally regulate, to not be able to experience their full expression of emotions. And so they might turn to escapism because they can't feel. And so, how do we give that Pisces moon the safety and the security to be able to feel it all and it'll be okay?
I love that, Leslie. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Well, we're at the
Yes.
top of the hour. I'm sure you have a birthday celebration to go to.
I have
Is there
to,
anything
yeah.
else you want to close out? Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on your birthday.
Thank you, Celeste. This has been so much fun. Like, I love these talks with you. We could just talk forever and ever. I think that's all I have. And just happy Valentine's Day. And remember, like, what your needs are, those from your moon sign, those are non-negotiable. So nurture your needs, find partners that nurture your needs, express what your needs are without shame, without permission. Because, when you love yourself, this is what you do.
Absolutely. Well, I'll make you a collaborator on this so
Perfect.
you can add it to your wall if you like. So
I
take good care. Have a
will.
wonderful day. Happy birthday, my friend.
Bye,
Love you.
everybody. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Happy Valentine's. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.